Amie Van Curen, you have a question.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. So, I guess my question is when you're going into these environments, right? It's almost like a sense of childhood wonder. Like you were stating, Brooke, you can't go in and be like, here's all the solutions. How do you start approaching the people in these communities so that way they felt involved in the decision making process, or if it's something that they're actually wanting to see value in without, saying, hey, I know this will work better.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted approach. I think research, data collection is obviously so important. So it's something that we do at the forefront, but it just informs something. So it informs potentially what could be so, but it's not necessarily what's so. Once we have that, we go into the communities with locals. So you need to find people that are in the communities that speak the language, that are very relatable for those community members and start creating conversation and listening. So we put together surveys, but they're very light. We have questions that we're working off of, but for them, they're just being asked, they're talking, they're in conversation, they're able to share their worlds with other community members who are our partners in the process. Once we have collected that information, we start running focus groups. So again, now you get not just an individual perspective, but you get a group perspective on what's happening. But this is all being facilitated at a high level by us, but on the ground, it's being done by our local partners because that is so important from a relatability point of view. Once we've collected that, Amie, we then we work with the community leaders, civic leaders, teachers, traditional leaders. So they're like the chiefs of those communities. And we sit down and we share our findings, and that creates a relatability. But we also offer how is it that we can work together, as opposed to we're going to do this for you and you're going to just sit and wait for things to happen, or we're going to tell you you're going to do something. And as many have seen, nothing happens. So we create a future with those civic leaders and with the traditional leaders of what the future of that community looks like based on the findings that we have found and based on the needs that they have. And what it does is it creates an active participation from all different levels of leadership inside the community, and they become a partner. They hold themselves accountable for what's being happened, and you can count on them to show up to do builds with you, because it doesn't do any good in the long term. It's not sustainable at all if we're going to do something, put it in place, and then walk away. So you need to develop the community to be active participants in all programming, and that's really the way that we set it up.
But also maybe Amy, just one point, and Brooke can expand on that. Is quite funny what happened last week or two weeks ago. The one key thing is to understand the traditions of the community that you're walking into as well. So, for example, this community that we go into, the what you've got to do is you've got to offer gifts. And the way that the community will then show that they accept you and accept you being there is accepting your gift. So it's you physically have to take the gift to them in front of the traditional headman or the leader of the community, put it in front of them. If they accept it, then you're accepted into the community. And I'm not talking about, these are small gifts, it's like
Chickens and
a live chicken, it's a bag of meal, and it's some sugar and a pillow. So these are things you put in front of them, but you show the respect of understanding their tradition, and then they will then include you into that community. If you just come in there and you think you're going to do it this way, just rock up and start talking to people, you miss a big opportunity.
I love.
Uh,
Oh,
oh, go ahead,
sorry.
Brooke.
No, I was going to say just a quick share to that too, because what, you you learn in the process. So we knew that that was part of the process, but we're very intentional about including our children in some of the things that we're doing. We think it's really important to have them be children of the world from a young age. So we had our oldest daughter who's 10 at that traditional meeting, and she was listening in, and we have a farm in Australia. So we love chickens, and they have become more like pets than anything. We don't slaughter the chickens, like we love them. And chickens here obviously serve a very different purpose because it feeds people. So they pull out this chicken now. You'd expect it to look like a chicken, but it was already depulked and legs tied together and it was flapping around. And we now have a daughter that refuses to eat chicken. So those things happen. And it's just the realities. It is, nobody's perfect. And I say as if I know what I'm doing, but 90% of the time I tell Ricus, I don't. And I'm learning during the way. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, is to just keep that learner mindset, because it's the only way that we can grow and we can adapt in the different communities that we're working inside of.